All right, here we go. 3, 2, 1, and we're live. Yeah, I don't know if I actually caught all that, but we'll see. How you doing, friends? Ernie here, and this is the 0 Days to Expiration podcast, episode number 68, and it is the first episode of the year 2022. This episode, we're going to talk about where we were and where we're going. This year, the beginning of this year, marks approximately 9, maybe 10 months into business with this venture. And by all accounts, it has been fantastically successful. We have grown. We have nearly 500 members. We have an incredible program that is geared towards. Now, let me just be very clear. This service, who is this for? This service is for that trader that wants to learn not just a strategy, but a system. You'll learn strategies all around trading options on the last day of expiration. That's what 0 days to expiration, or 0 DTE, is. Trading options on the S&P. Now, we trade both the SPX index as well as the E-mini futures. So you're going to learn strategies around that. You're going to learn methodologies that we employ around the analytics that are nothing like you've ever seen before, all based on volume profile. We use no indicators, just volume profile. It's incredibly effective. You're also going to learn a continuous improvement process that is largely based on agile methodologies. All of this put together, and from what we have developed from day one, has been nothing but getting better and better and better and better. It seems now, of course, like every strategy, it doesn't perform equally as well under all conditions. However, every condition that we encounter is an opportunity for it to get better. And it does perform fantastically well both in down markets, sideways markets, and up markets. The service itself, you can't call this an alert service. While we do push out alerts every 0 DTE opportunity, which is every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, unless there is a holiday on Monday or Friday, then it goes to Tuesday or Thursday, respectively. We have a trading opportunity every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, 3 times a week, and I do send out alerts for those. The alerts, let me just say this. The focus is on teaching you how to become a professional trader using the edge that I have found in the analytics and the methodology and the strategies that we employ that make this a fantastic system for any day trader. There's a lot to it. It's not some formulaic system that you come into and think that you're going to just apply some kind of simple criteria and then that's it. And somehow it's all been back tested and forward walked and Monte Carlo'd and all that other stuff. Those simply don't work. And by testament, you look at any of the other 0 DTE services, all of their members are coming here because of the incredible strife and anxiety that they exhibit there. We employ an asymmetric risk to reward philosophy. And so while they are living in anxiety hell with every trade, putting huge amounts of cash to make tiny, tiny little profits, and then every once in a while blowing up their accounts, this is a regular thing that they do. We employ something that I call the inverse of risk, or the inversion of risk. We do exactly the opposite. We take small, tiny little risks, going after huge profits. So you're never in that position where you're sweating bullets or fearing that you're going to stop out or potentially lose the last 3, 4, 5 weeks of profits. That never happens with us, ever. Instead, what you enjoy is a nice, smooth, very tiny little drawdown equity curve that goes from bottom left to top right. Now, that's not to imply that you can just jump in here and then just do it. The big difference here is that this is an educational service here to teach you the strategies, the methods, and the process. And to help you along, I will be your personal coach and mentor. You, when becoming a member, even a trial member, will get my personal mobile number. It'll go directly to this phone right here. This phone. I will answer it and answer your questions. I will spend the time with you during our daily sessions to answer any question that you have. Also, to act as a coach to keep you engaged and accountable for what you do. This is a service like no other. There is no other service that I know of where the owner will answer their phone. Now, in terms of performance, all of that is great, right? All of that is fantastic. But if the system doesn't work, what good is it? And that's where we shine dramatically over all the other services. What I've already described is head and shoulders above what anybody else does. Except for this, we blow them away. We use less capital to make more money. And not just a little bit. Dramatically different. Orders of magnitude different. And this is why their members are flocking to this service. We employ a lot of the asymmetry philosophy that can be found in treatises like The Black Swan or Skin in the Game by noted author Nassim Taleb. His philosophies are things that we've engendered into this service. So we're using asymmetry in our risk to reward. We are using edges that are inherent in the last day or premium selling. I mean, fundamentally, we are sellers of premium. We employ novel methods with option strategies to give us that kind of risk to reward where the minimum we would ever consider is a 1 part risk to 5 parts reward. And often we're looking at 1 to 10 or 1 to 15 or even 1 to 20. So what that means is that we're going for profit based on our capital used on average of about 150 to 200% of our risk capital. Consider that against what everybody else is doing. They're scratching and anxiety-ridden to make 5, maybe 6, maybe 10% profit. As a matter of fact, one of my competitors, Scott Stewart, made a video recently where he said the ideal situation would be where they made 10% profit on their risk capital. If we only made 10% profit on our risk capital, that would be an abysmal failure of a trade. Our average capital is 150%, more than 10 times. In other words, we use 20 times less capital to make 10 times more profit than the other zero DTE services. That is the fundamental difference. Now, the biggest thing that we overcome here is new members coming in with all of that baggage from the old way of thinking of trading. The idea that they have to try to scrape together and go through that anxiety, put on really high probability trades in order to eke out a tiny little profit, risk huge amounts of capital, go through unbelievable gamma risk to try to get that tiny, tiny little bit of profit. When we're making 10 to 20 times more than they are using less capital. At the same time, 10 to 20 times more profit while using 10 times less or 1/10 the capital. I know, it seems like crazy work. What the hell's going on here? Why would they be doing that? Yeah, that's the question. Why do they do that? It's because that's all they know. I guess they just haven't stepped outside the box a little bit, thought a little bit differently. They're not using volume profile. They are using failed technical analysis. They are not taking advantage of the inherent edges there are in selling premium. They think they are, but their performance certainly doesn't show that. If you would like to try out the 0-DTE way, go to 0-dte.com/try. I provide a 4-week trial. 4 weeks. Sure, you pay a little bit for that trial, but if you join our service after that, I will rebate the cost, so it will be essentially free. If you decide not to go, what you will get out of that 4-week trial is an incredible education, a coached and mentored education on our process. And look, if you feel like you've gotten what you need to go off on your own, that's fine. About 50% of the people do that. The other 50% stay on. And they stay on because they're there to learn. They're there to be coached, mentored, and helped to grow as a true professional trader. That's the end goal. That is my goal, to take anybody. And look, you could be a pro trader. That's great. But you come in here, quite frankly, you're going to have to shed all of that baggage that you have learned and unlearn it, because we do things differently here. For the better, obviously. So, there you go. That is 0-DTE.com. 0 days to expiration. This is the first podcast of the year. There will be many more. I will be doing a podcast after every 0-DTE day. Today's Tuesday. Tomorrow is Wednesday. We will have another podcast then, and then another one on Friday. Take a look at our 67 other podcast episodes. They are absolutely chock full of valuable information that will teach you how to be a better trader. That's all I've got for now. Peace to you all. Thank you very much, and Happy New Year. All right. Off button. Sure, it's a new year, but still have problems finding that off button. Got to move this window there.